The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. We got another morning of inflation data on the producer front. Comes in a little bit soft. Inflation numbers cooling more than the market expected. We'll get into those in a moment. We have jobless claims a little bit higher than the market expected. You combine the two, and you may see a shifting goal for the Fed. As what do we have? We have potentially jobless numbers increasing, inflation numbers coming down, pointing to what? A cooling economy. And what would that mean? That would mean that potentially cuts could be coming down the line. The bond market reacting yet again this morning. We picked things up, though, on the S&Ps. Higher price. You talk about an acceleration yesterday on that CPI number. Look at the acceleration yesterday. You give back some of that at the end of the day, but quite a run nonetheless. And look where we just traded to, almost right to the highs. We hit the high that we were at about 10:30. We hit the high we were at about 3:30. You just spiked to that high on that PPI number this morning, up to 54.51. We'll call it 54.5275 to be exact. We were positive by about 23 points. We're positive by 13 points right now on the S&Ps, by about 0.25%. NASDAQ 100. We're higher by about 0.6%. 19,691 was the spike high. We're trading 19,623. Dow in negative territory. Dow, a little bit of a different story than the S&P and the NASDAQ. NASDAQ leading the way as usual. And you got the Russell this morning, basically flat by 1 point, negative by 1 point, trading at 2,058. Bitcoin, little volatility as well, trading at 68,000. Crude prices backing off a bit from the highs of yesterday. We're up to 79.32. We're trading at 78.37 this morning. Gold contract, give back some of the gains of yesterday. You get a little bit of a spike on that PPI number to 23.36 right now for gold. And we jump over to the story of the day. You get another pop on the 10-year. Higher price, lower yield, coming at you. You got the 10-year right now, up by 7 ticks, trading at 110.17. You were all the way up to 110.24. You got the 10-year yield, 4.27%. Not bad, man. 4.27, as in not bad for quite a run. You take a look at this thing on a daily. We were sitting at, I think, 4.5 almost when you were coming into that. We had 108 on May 29th. Maybe that's where we were. We might have been at 4.5. Yeah, when we were at 109, you're up 1.5 points just in the last few days in the 10-year, as it looks like the prospect of cuts, at least one or two, coming this year. Maybe we get September cuts. We will see. You jump over to the dollar index. What do we have? Back it to a 15-minute, 5-minute, let's call it. So on the prospect of lower yield, you have a weaker dollar. Now, interesting, right? When you look at the dollar, quite the drop-off yesterday. You reclaimed some of that. Today, we're sitting at 104.86. You came into that CPI number at 105. Not a huge move at all, especially when you look at where we were for yields across the board there. We jump over to the VIX Volatility Index. We finished the day yesterday with an 11 handle. We're almost right at that price point, 12.08. Very little volatility premium for obvious reasons in this market. All right, now let's jump over to the fundamental data we got this morning. We'll give you two headlines. We'll start off with the most important headline. Now, CPI, a much more important data point than PPI, but still, in theory, producer prices should trickle down to consumer prices. And what you have to remember is if they don't trickle down, then what do? They get eaten up by the company themselves in terms of margins, right? If producers are paying more money for something and they're not transferring that cost to consumers, then they're eating that cost. So either it's contributing to inflation or it's contributing to lower margins. If you see higher producer prices, not necessary that they go to the consumer front, right? Because sometimes they don't. But if they don't go to the consumer front, then they do eat up margins. So either way right now, it's a tough one if you're seeing higher producer prices, but we are not, because we got, the headline says, biggest decline since October. Okay, now I believe that was the printout there for the CPI as well. As in, I think that might have been the first miss to the downside since October in terms of expectations for the CPI, but you get over to the PPI here, and we got the actual number. How about a month-over-month decline of 0.2%? Now, we don't want things to get too wary because we start seeing huge declines, and as I mentioned before, if you start seeing a necessity for the Fed to cut to save the economy, that is going to be a tough one for equities. Nonetheless, producer price index for final demand decreased 0.2% from a month earlier. When you got the core number, you take out food and energy, it is flat. Year over year, only up 2.2%. Core number only up 2.3%. And you see the numbers month over month. Decent numbers. I was talking about yesterday. Yesterday, the CPI misses were only 0.1% across the board, month over month. Core month over month, and year over year, core year over year. It was a 0.1% miss to the downside. Here you have a 0.3% miss to the downside on every number except for core year over year, where they get 2% under the target number, the expectation. So you got soft inflation numbers on the consumer front. You got soft inflation numbers on the producer front. I believe we get PCE, might be the 28th, 26th. We get it the final week of the month, I believe, for the what's the PC? It's failing me. Consumer price CPE? No, PCE? Yeah, we'll see what it says. But nonetheless, that's the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. We get that at the end of the month. That's the one that they're really going to pay attention to there. Several categories in the PPI report are used to calculate the Fed's preferred, personal consumption expenditure. There we go, PCE. We're softer in May than a month earlier. So there's your, appetizer for that. Airfares fell 4.3%, okay? And prices for portfolio management services decreased 1.8%. Physician care costs were flat. Hospital outpatient care up just 0.5%. The May PCE price gauge is due later this month. I don't even give you the date, but it is that final week of the month, I believe. Stripping out food, energy, and trade services, which is an even less volatile PPI, prices were flat compared to the prior month. So it's a weak number, to put it lightly. It is a weak number. Now, you combine that with the jobless claims number, which is interesting here, because what does the Fed have? They have two mandates, full employment and price stability. Well, we got prices potentially stabilizing, and we have jobless claims rising to the highest level in 9 months. The one thing I will say is 242,000 is not that high of a number on an ongoing basis. If we start seeing a severe uptick where we're talking about 250 to 300,000 jobs on a constant basis for your initial jobless claims on a weekly basis, that's a number to watch out for. New applications rising to 242,000 last week. That is higher than expected, increasing by 13,000. The number they were looking for was 225. You come in at 242. Unemployment rate last month was at 4%. New claims before adjustment for seasonal influences rose by 38,530 to 234,707. Besides California, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota also saw sizable gains. Now, the release did not specify the reasons behind the jump in California, but mentioned layoffs in transportation and manufacturing in Pennsylvania, as well as job cuts in education in Minnesota. The 4-week average, 227,000, the highest since September. 227 is not a scary number, though, okay? But you combine the two of them, and what do we got? We got potentially rate cuts coming down the line sometime this year. We'll take a look at some of that action. We'll talk a little bit of Tesla. We'll talk a little bit of Broadcom when we get back, folks. Stay tuned. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
This portion of the Morning Market Kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Welcome back, folks. We have Tesla out there trading up $13. So, Elon out there. And he is talking about the fact that, oh, that's not the one we wanted. Come on, where are we? There we go. And I'll even pull up his tweet. I believe this is it. Both Tesla shareholder resolutions are currently passing by a wide margin. Thanks for your support. He's all about the hearts. Cumulative Elon comp 4 votes in millions of votes. You see the uptick there. I guess the orange line is a guaranteed win in terms of how many you get. You got against votes there. All I'll say is that beware of the messenger here and who you're getting that info from. And I don't know if you are allowed to talk up this in the middle of a vote as the CEO. Are you? Are you allowed to see where the vote is and then put out? I mean, there was a comment here. It's against proxy solicitation rules. I mean, I imagine. I mean, are you allowed to say in the middle of the vote where it is, where you are, where you need it? He's obviously able to influence things. That's obviously why he bought Twitter, now X, cumulative Texas votes as well to move that company to Texas. We'll see what happens. Now, what is important to remember here, okay, is that this is not the end all for the decision for that comp pay. And I'm trying to figure out where I had that article up. It's a good one. Come on. Oh, shame on me. Too many good articles. Yeah, here we go. this doesn't resolve anything. It's going to an appeals court in Delaware, all right? And the shareholder vote on Musk's historic pay package won't resolve legal disputes. If anything, it's going to give him more power at the bully pulpit, okay? But it does not it doesn't rectify that decision. Now, that decision, okay, was made, and it says here, Judge Kathleen McCormick found that Tesla's board members lacked independence from Musk. That does not change, period. Failed to properly negotiate at arm's length with the CEO. Does not change, period. Didn't give shareholders the full picture before asking them to vote. Maybe that does change, and maybe that's where they're going to make that argument, okay? Shareholders aren't in a position to overturn the judge's ruling. So keep this all in mind. Now, he's going to be out there arguing whatever he's going to argue, right? He's going to do it. You know it's going to happen. And, you know, you can make the case here, right, that there were lofty expectations for this equity. If they didn't get hit, he didn't make that kind of money. But, folks, he's a transformative man. I get that, okay? And, yes, without him at the helm of Tesla, this equity is going to tank, okay? So I get that part of it as well. But I don't believe that we want CEOs getting paid salaries to the tune of $55 billion. I mean, you think about it. A lot of CEOs actually who are founders, they take $1, right? They get they have huge shares as founders. And that was one of the things that was mentioned in there, that he already had a decent sizable chunk. And what did he do? He sold off those shares at highs in the market, masked that sale as a necessity. He is not a fool. He's a very, very brilliant man. He sold those shares intentionally, folks, knowing that that was probably an irrational high on Tesla. He said, why don't I buy Twitter with these shares when they're probably irrationally high at this point? He sold them at a price well above where Tesla's trading at right now. He has been distracted at various times, and now he's arguing that he deserves $55 billion. And folks, Tesla right now only has a market cap of $600 billion. So you're asking for 1/10 of the market cap of the entire company just as a CEO shareholder, just as a CEO salary, not shareholder. Now, the reason why I bring it up, right, is because if you make the same case that, well, he rewarded shareholders, folks, Tim Cook could be making $300 billion. He could be making bonkers, man. Apple is on quite a run. They're almost at $3.3 trillion. You don't need to pay CEOs $55 billion, $100 billion, $200 billion, $300 billion just because they're running some of the biggest companies in the world that are now worth $3 trillion. And you can make the case that, well, they took a company from, you know, if you make the case on Tim Cook, man, I think he took over that company when it was like at 200 billion, 500 billion, something like that, and it's now at 3.3 trillion. I don't think that's what you need, and you shouldn't need that type of a pay package. Somebody else could do that job for less. $55 billion is bonkers, and the real thing is that the corporate oversight, in terms of board oversight on that equity, is just non-existent. But we'll see how it plays out. The shareholders are voting, and he's going to have another piece of ammunition in his bully pulpit that he'll be out there if they really do get that vote. And you get Tesla popping today to 190 on that news. Now, we get back to real numbers driving some equities, and how about Broadcom, man? So it would make sense. They're going 10 for 1. They saw what happened for NVIDIA. Broadcom trades up from 1,500 to 1,700. They do it on beating numbers. Let's get over to Broadcom numbers here. Where are we? There we go. So, headline there, Broadcom beats earnings estimates, announces a 10 for 1 stock split. The numbers they come in with, 1096 versus 1084. They beat on earnings. They beat on revenue by almost $500 million. 12.49 versus 12.03. They also guided a little bit higher for the fiscal year than the market was expecting. $51 billion in sales for fiscal year 2024. The market was looking for 50.42. Yeah, not bad, man. And then they go 10 for 1 stock split on top of that. Yeah. They said $3.1 billion in sales during the quarter could be attributed to revenue from AI products. For example, Broadcom works with Google, which partially designs its own AI chip called TPU. Talking of AI accelerators, You may know our hyperscale customers are accelerating their investments to scale up performance of these clusters, Broadcom CEO said on the earnings call. And to that end, we have just been awarded the next generation custom AI accelerators for these hyperscale customers of ours. Yeah, not bad, man. Revenue from VMware, an enterprise software company it acquired for $69 billion last year, contributed to its sales growth and forecast for the rest of the year. Overall revenue up 43% on an annual basis. Without VMware, it would have been up 12%. Still decent numbers, man. They're getting quite a pop, and they're going 10 for 1. And boy, you talk about a chart, right? You talk about a chart, man. From 415, it's been a one-way trip, and you got to scroll that chart down to even get 1700 on this chart, which is where you're going to pop to on the open for Broadcom. So higher we go. You jump over to the Analyze tab for Broadcom, and we're talking about a company now valued at $800 billion. Remember when we hadn't seen a $1 trillion company? Remember when the race was on to get to $1 trillion? How many companies are just blowing past that dollar point right now? Absolutely remarkable when you think about that. Let alone Apple that they're on. How about Apple, man? The last couple of days, you talk about it. Look at these days. This is a daily chart. You pulled back on their Worldwide Developer Conference, and then kaboom. You trade up from 193 to 213 in 2 days, even pull it back from 220. Apple's got 15.3 billion shares added. They just added $300 billion in market cap in the last couple of days. Remarkable. Stay tuned, folks. We're coming back from the market open. Don't go away.
The consistency you're looking for is closer than you think. 1 or 2 adjustments are usually all you need to change your equity curve from red to green and keep it there. Come join Larry Pesavento live to learn what separates the winners from the losers. Join Larry Pesavento on the 2nd and 4th Friday of every month for 3 hours of live trading from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time, where Larry will show you the market setting up and, most important of all, the state of mind of a winning trader. By watching Larry trade, you'll learn the Fibonacci levels, you'll learn how to apply A to B to C to D trading patterns, you'll learn trade management, pattern recognition, and much more. Join Larry Pesavento on Friday, June 14th and Friday, June 28th this month for his live trading sessions, where you'll sit right beside him as he trades the market live. For this month only, enter code LarryJune24 and save $50 off your first month. For all the information and to reserve your spot today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstadt's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstadt releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
The stock market is a delicate, interconnecting web of commodities, equities, and trader psychology. When one string of the web is pulled, it has a ripple effect across the broader market. This is where opportunity lies. But how are you to gather all of this information into one cohesive model when you're already spending your energy looking for any possible trade opportunities? Luckily, you don't have to worry about that, as Tom O'Brien has brought all important market news to you in one single newsletter, Market Insights. Market Insights provides a daily overview of what's happening in the indexes, bonds, gold, and more. Follow along with Tom daily as he analyzes the components that affect the overall movement of the stock market, giving insight into how each one plays either a bullish or bearish role. Tom also analyzes specific equities that he believes has the potential to make huge returns, and his track record proves his analysis right. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Don't let the market leave you in the dust.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
What's going on, Tommy O'Brien?
Good morning, Jacob Shoup. Thanks for joining us this morning. How are we doing?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. So, quite a market as we got another little bit of a soft inflation data point on the PPI front, right? PPI producer prices coming in soft on the heels of that CPI number. The market's loving that. S&P's pushing record territory yet again. NASDAQ pushing, we might get 20,000 in the NASDAQ 100, man. I got the NQs trading up 19,631. Put your 20,000 hat on, Jacob. It might be coming. We're only about 2% away from that number. Pretty remarkable, man.
I know. This market is insane. And I'm pulling up my Thinkorswim right now. Let's take a look at everything.
What do you think about Apple, too, the last couple of days, man? So much for, we were having that discussion about the risk reward. They had to wow the market to accelerate higher. And then, you got a couple of analysts talking about that you may get an upgrade cycle here, that people really need to upgrade to access some of those AI tools, and Apple adds $300 billion in market cap in the span of 48 hours. Poof, you talk about an equity, man.
They must have been listening to us a little bit when we were talking about, this is the thing, right? Like, this is, and you said it as well, this is going to be the first AI that a lot of people are going to work with. I think it will increase the quality of life. It's not going to compete with ChatGPT in any major way, but functionally, this is the first time that we're seeing AI. You had Google's rollout, right, of using AI in search engines, and that's a way that people were interacting with it, but it wasn't very good. And if Apple can nail this, it'll be super interesting,
Yeah, like we said, what was the number? 135 million Apple users just in the U.S. or something like that. And many of those not diehard AI Chat GPT users, but they're technological savvy to a degree, as in they can access the tools on their iPhones. And I did see something. I think, what is it, that you got to have a 15 plus to use some of those features or something like that?
I'm sure they'll drive it for that. Yeah.
And so, I was telling you myself, I'm on a 12 right now. I'm living in the Stone Age, Jacob. So I was already saying that, and I got this phone just before Tommy was born, and he was born February of 2021. So I had to get this almost 4 years ago now. So it's almost time for I'm at a good point anyway, to probably push an upgrade. But I'm sure if anyone's out there and you're on the fence, they're trying to push it, and I think some of the analysts are saying, this is going to drive some upgrades for the next cycle or two, as people are going to have the incentive finally to make that upgrade. And there hasn't been a good incentive, right? That's been the conversation.
Right.
How has Apple sustained so many upgrades when really they've been pretty marginal? Maybe you're talking about memory, right? I know the cameras always get better, but they've been amazing for a decade almost, But you talk about battery life is always one. Memory's always been one. They always talk up the camera, but beyond that, I know the chips always get better. Everything gets better, but there used to be substantial increases that were noticeable.
Right.
Now it's just like, it's a better computer in the back end. But guess what? There are actually going to be some substantial differences of what you can use on that phone versus what you can use on another one. And, you got to pay attention, man. The charts don't lie, and that is quite a move for an equity that's got 15+ billion shares outstanding.
Absolutely.
When you're talking about, and today, guess what? It's up another 1.4% today already on the open. Pretty remarkable.
And that's the problem too with it. A lot of it really is it's obsolescence, right? So I'm in the same way. I think I have like an iPhone 12 or 13, and the thing is just slowing down. Lithium ions don't have a long life. So that was the major driving factor behind Apple, probably besides people just wanting the new thing because it's a new thing. And I'm not sure that's a sustainable kind of business thing, but adding in the AI is phenomenal. And I'm really looking forward as well. I was looking at this the other day with the laptops with Copilot, right? They're using the Snapdragon processor, which is insane. And I'm reading everything that it can do. They're going to have the neural processing unit. So this will be coming from like HP, Dell will have this, right? I believe Qualcomm is developing the Snapdragon processor and then the Adreno graphics card. Anyways, this is going to be insane. And if this works and is not just, kind of a sell point and nothing has really changed, like if there really are some major transitions in these new products, this is going to be a really interesting new consumer market as far as tech is concerned. And I'm looking forward to that. So, I
was going to say, we live in interesting times. we live in interesting times, man. NVIDIA up another 2.7% today. I was just jumping around. Now, what are they pushing right now for market cap, man? The race is on. What are they at? They're at quite a number themselves. $3.16 trillion. My goodness, $3.16 trillion for NVIDIA. Apple, they're pushing what, $3.3 trillion, I think? Yeah, because they're up another $1.50. 3.29. I mean, did you ever think NVIDIA was going to overtake Apple as the biggest company out there? And they're right there, which is just
NVIDIA
wild,
to
man.
me has always been, when we were building computers when we were young to play the best video game or mine crypto. To have it like this is insane. I am interested to see what is going to go on with Taiwan Semiconductor, right? We're trading down a little bit right now at 171, but you had Jensen Huang come out and say that they're not charging as much as they could for their chips. And I think TSMC is starting to see that, right? And I believe they're going to increase the cost. So they're switching over to doing more 3 nanometer production, which is that's their bread and butter in a major sense, right? So they're going increasing 3 nanometer wafer production between 120 to 180,000 units, and I would argue as well, so many companies, TSM is in their supply chain to some certain extent. That's not going away, I think, for the foreseeable future. They're still defeating, the Chinese chip maker. Yeah. People are still going to want to use Taiwan. So, I could see these guys really taking off in a major way if they increase the cost of their chips, which they have to. Or not that they have to, but they can, is the thing, right? They have
and if they
room to
can,
make
why
more.
not? No.
Exactly.
Great point. And then how about Broadcom, just continuing the conversation, up by 15% today on their numbers, 10-for-1 stock split, 17.17. Quite a price tag for their shares. They're going to cut that by 1 out of 10, so they'll be trading at $171 when they go post-split following the playbook out there. Many equities, NVIDIA included. Pretty remarkable, man.
That is
so
amazing.
How about crude?
Yes.
Wanted to jump to crude if we could. You had the inventory numbers out there, so those come out Wednesday afternoon, and the headline out here is that oil prices fall after a bearish increase in the U.S. stockpiles. They throw the Fed in there as well, but it is interesting just looking at the stockpiles. We've been talking about crude a lot. The U.S. reported a surprise oil stockpile build of 3.7 million barrels. Now you had analysts had expected potentially for a fall. Gas inventories rising by 2.6 million barrels. So fuel demand remains soft, and you back up crude. I got a weekly there, but let's put it back to a 15-minute. And there is the action on 10:30 yesterday. I pull it up on my chart here. Those numbers come out 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, folks, every Wednesday. So if you're trading oil, you're watching oil, keep that time frame on your charts. 10:30 on Wednesday, you get the inventory numbers for crude. And you talk about a drop-off. Now, what happened? We almost got it all back. We just traded back to 78.69. We were as low as 77.80 this morning about. But pretty interesting, Jacob, in the conversation we've been having in terms of crude, right? We were talking about it a couple of days ago. Man, it's really tough for crude to find a bid. What happens? You have a surplus, and we're coming into the summer driving season. It's June. Kids are getting off school. They're already off school in Florida. They're getting off school in the Northeast right now. I know we're coming into a break. Maybe we can finish this up afterwards.
Would love to.
Talk about, man, if crude can't find a bid in the summer, if they can't have demand in the summer, what's going on in crude? We'll figure it out. We'll talk about it after the break, all right?
Sounds good. See you then, Tommy.
We'll be right back, folks.
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the Opening Call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening Call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
All right, Tommy, we were talking about crude oil before we went to the break.
We sure were. So you get the surprise build in inventories yesterday, Jacob. We're sitting at 78.55. Yeah, we're up off the lows that we made, beginning of June of a 72 handle. So you're up by $6. But all things considered, man, I found myself paying attention to the gas pumps only because it's so remarkable how low it is. I saw 309 today. Yesterday, and that's just at a random pump, man. Now, I get my gas usually at Sam's, which I'm saving 7-10 pennies, something like that per gallon, something off of Sam's membership. But pretty remarkable when you're pushing $3 a barrel, man, and still demand basically not keeping up with supply. And the one thing I wanted to throw on it, we were talking about earlier in the week, and I'm just going to bring this headline up for anybody that wasn't watching at that time. And this is one day ago. It's the Journal, but look it up, folks. It's the IEA, and it's pretty remarkable, Jacob, that we're approaching a time in our lifetime where we may reach peak oil demand, as in you're talking about 2030, daily supply capacity will reach almost 114 million barrels, but guess what? Demand is going to be peaking at 106 million barrels toward the end of the decade. And why? Well, you have renewable energy sources, man. You have EVs. You probably got solar in there in the houses, right? You have all these renewable sources of power, more efficient combustion engines on top of it.
Yes.
That we're actually reaching peak oil demand. And what happens after then? It declines at the same time that we actually have capacity rising. And 2030 might seem like a long way away, folks, but I said to people, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, Jacob, I said, COVID hit 4.5 years ago. So if you think that 2030 is a long time away, that's barely 5 years from right now, and COVID started 4.5 years ago. Just for some we know time flies, but that's remarkable when you put it that way. And, that's going out a ways, 5.5 years, but it is interesting when you talk about even near term, you're getting surprise builds by millions of barrels at a time when, what do you think? I mean, that's some pretty interesting data on the front. Yeah.
I think it's even being acted on as well, which gives credence to the concept, right? I mean, you have, let's say, Saudi Arabia is trying everything in its power to kind of shift away from the petroleum economy, right? Because they understand at some certain point this is going to go away. You see this in some of the other Gulf states as well. They're trying to become tourist hubs. They're trying to buy entertainment in the case of Saudi Arabia with golf. I believe Abu Dhabi spent a bunch of money to get into the UFC. So, you know, Saudi Arabia even purchased WWE, I believe, right? I mean, this is insane. So they're understanding that this isn't going to be the case always. I think you're going to see these so the major consumer of oil, or energy, really, is going to be these big AI companies, the big tech, Microsoft, Google, so on and so forth. And we're even seeing an attempt by Microsoft to transition away from using fossil fuel-derived energy into things like nuclear, right? Because they understand there's not enough, in theory, right, if you want to build this out to its logical conclusion. But then, two, it just becomes super expensive. I also think with crude right now, I mean, this is a really... This is interesting, and I think needed too, right? You can't let energy get too expensive right now, right? You have elections coming up. You have CPI that's still marginally high, right? I know that's not considered part of the core CPI, but it still goes in to what people are looking at.
Sure.
So what are the numbers here? We are up 13.2 million barrels a day. That's production. That's up from 13.1 million from the previous week. Imports averaged 8.3 million barrels a day. That's 1.2 million more than the previous week. And then the exports are decreasing as well by 1.3 million. So the U.S. is definitely trying to increase, the SPR. It's trying to increase the amount of oil it's producing and keeping, essentially, right? And I think that is going to help us in a major way, trying to, just put this inflation number down a little bit. Because, you imagine we're selling that for some money. With the OPEC cuts that we're seeing, I mean, you could get higher energy prices in the dead of summer. I mean, it was, 97 out yesterday, at least where I was. Oh. And that is brutal.
It is, yeah.
People want to move around for the summer. So anyways, I think this is a really interesting approach and, natural, but it's nice to see if that, kind of makes sense.
We are getting, folks, and for those not in Florida, and, I know it's happening all over the country, and you got, how about that rain going on the East Coast now? They're getting clobbered, and thank goodness it's early June because, we got a storm, and it's just a storm. It's not a hurricane. It's what do they call it? It's a disturbance or something like that. Yeah, and thank goodness that, the Gulf wasn't any type of hot temperatures or something because the destruction going on. Now, we've gotten a substantial amount of rain over here on our side, folks, but thankfully it's been nothing somehow what they're dealing with in Fort Lauderdale, Miami. I think you got 5 different counties now with emergency, designations out there. And point being, it is crazy hot, though, regardless in Florida, man. We have had some heats, folks. I mean, in the middle of Florida where I am, what happens is, Jacob, so where you are in Clearwater and St. Pete, you still have a little bit of cool waters at this time of year, right? And we don't have that. So what happens is that we get like a 98, feels like a 105 or something bonkers, man. There is no cool breeze helping us at all. Now what happens is towards the end of the summer, that's going to hurt you guys, because the temperatures are going to be in the water are going to be 90, 100 almost by the time you get into the end of the season. But it has been extremely hot already, folks, in the ACs just don't stop running this time of year already, which is remarkable, man, because we got like 3 more months of hurricane season, man. It's just going to start beginning right now, and hurricanes run well through the end of August and into beginning of September. I think the season even runs to like beginning of October, but you do get some easing towards the end of the season as those waters start to cool a bit. But boy, we got like 3 months left. So,
well, I mean,
what I will say. Go ahead. I was just going to say, stock up on some water supplies if you have the ability to, folks, because, everything will be fine. But there's no reason to participate in that rat race of run to Publix, run out of water. Go get some water. We've seen it during COVID. Go get like 5 or 6 cases of water. Put it in your garage. It won't go bad. You'll use it throughout the year if you don't use it during the summer. And you can't, that's one thing. You got to have some water, man. The AC goes, that's going to be uncomfortable, to put it lightly. But you got to have some water, folks, for sure.
Yeah. Well, where we're at, we're on a peninsula, right? As you're saying, the water is kind of conducive right now to not making major storms. We're about to still get projected 4 to 6 inches of rain over this, until Monday. And same in the south, right? They're getting something like 10 to 12. And this is something from a large weather association that looks at the country, right? It is really insane. And you want to talk about things even with like homeowner insurance, right? I mean, you have these fly-by-night companies, they get out of here, and it's only a few insurance companies want to be able to take that risk with hurricane. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about how I know some of the rates on these kind of things, but I mean, I know some people who are paying like $22,000 a year just in homeowners insurance, and over half of that is from hurricane. It is so bizarre.
We got some issues, man, for sure. And that's, and then you have a lot of people in Florida shifting to Citizens, which, that has some risks to the taxpayer front. Which, and I can't blame him. I'm with Citizens, man. You got to do it. It was a savings of almost like 80% off the private market, which is bonkers. All right, when we come back, folks, we're going to talk about our man Larry Pesavento, because 24 hours from right now, he's going to be live trading tomorrow. We'll talk about Larry. We'll be right back.
Very good.
The Gold Report. As a precious metal, gold is still king. It continues to hold the most effective safe haven and hedging properties across the global major trading hubs of the London OTC market, the U.S. futures market, and the Shanghai Gold Exchange. The Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his weekly gold report every Monday morning for subscribers, consisting of coverage of the XAU, HUI, GDX, the dollar, bonds, the South African rand, as well as 25 different mining equities with specific buy-sell recommendations. The Gold Report. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Subscribe to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report newsletter now at TFNN.com.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
All right, welcome back, Tommy.
Welcome back, Jacob. So we got markets pairing those gains slightly. S&P's up by 7, not the NASDAQ though, man. NASDAQ holding strong right now, up by 0.7%. The Dow pairing some of the gains though. You talk about a little bit of a pullback, man. Dow is off 600 points from where we were at the highs yesterday. You're off by 0.6%. And the Russell, particularly volatile, off by 0.8%. And boy, it's shaping up to be a great day for a little bit of volatility and a little bit of trading tomorrow for our man Larry Pesavento, folks. So, Larry, live trading Fridays. Tomorrow is Friday, folks. He's got a live trading session 9 a.m. till 12 noon Eastern time. Now, this product, we launched it a few months ago. You can sign up. The cost is $295. You gain access to 2 live trading sessions per month. the second and fourth Friday of each month. So tomorrow's the second Friday, June 14th. You'll also gain access 2 weeks from tomorrow, June 28th. You get 2 different sessions. Now, the cool part here is you can check this out right on the front page of TFNN. You hit the subscribe button, and we got a code out there where you can save $50 off the $295. It is Larry, June 24, and you see I'm going to enter it right there. You hit add code, and there's your $50 savings off your first month in there with Larry. So that brings it down to $245. Folks, there's no better way to learn how to trade than really just watching people trade and learning from education out there. It's a heck of a deal, $245 out there for 2 different 3-hour sessions, folks. Larry always does a great job, and you guys have had some great sessions. I know you're in there, Jacob. Yeah. Jacob does a great job, folks, basically acting as an admin. If you have any questions, you need to get in, email Jacob at TFNN. He's in there for the 3 hours, making sure everybody is seeing everything, following along, following the trades, price targets, price stops in there. Larry's had some good sessions with some good profits recently, and so that's in there tomorrow at 9 a.m. Check it out, folks. And if you're in the den, it's as easy enough as you get tagged. You're right in the different room in the den. If you're not in the den, we'll get you in there ASAP, folks. Just sign up, check it out. Boy, time is flying, Jacob. He's been doing that for a couple months already. I know. And but I always look forward to it myself. So, folks, it's tomorrow. Great time to sign up. You can sign up anytime throughout the month, but check it out on the front page of TFNN. Larry's doing the show today, of course, but live trading Fridays. And, boy, we got a market for it, man, because we got a little bit of a pullback. Even the S&Ps. S&Ps right now, what are we off the highs? Only 10 points. All right, Jacob, thanks for joining me, man. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow, brother.
Thank you for having me, Tommy.
Always a pleasure. Folks, stay tuned for Basil. He's coming up next. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.